Hey everyone, what is going on? So we're doing more Tempest PvP battles, and yeah, it's really crummy day, you know, it's raining, but that's okay. Anyway, testing some new Pokemon. We're using Skarmory. Now, this was a really fantastic Pokemon in the Boulder Cup. It was a Pokemon that you basically saw on every single team. You know, some teams you even saw two of them. That's how fantastic the Pokemon was. It's not as good as it was in the Boulder Cup, but I still think it's pretty good for the Tempest Cup, but we'll see. Either way, we do get off the Sky Attack against that Altaria. He's going to go ahead and opt to block because he does have another charge move ready to go. I go ahead and block that. And because I knew I would be able to finish it off, and we do go ahead and finish it off with a sliver of HP left, but we do get off a Sky Attack, and that's going to do half to that Charizard. Wow, actually doing a good amount of damage to that Charizard. Charizard's definitely a good Pokemon. It's not bulky by any means, but it is a good Pokemon. Currently I only have Blast Burn on it, but you should have Blast Burn and Dragon Claw, so I will be adding that secondary move onto Charizard, and a bunch of other Pokemon. Most of my Pokemon, you know, at this point only have one move. I didn't purchase secondary moves. A lot of you had asked me about that and saying, why don't you have secondary moves on some of these Pokemon? I'm definitely going to be purchasing them, but most of my Pokemon outside of, I think, Altaria, don't have secondary moves at the moment, but I will be purchasing and unlocking secondary moves on a bunch of them. I just wanted to use some Pokemon basically, but either way, we do go ahead, finish that match, and take a win, so that's really nice. So we do go ahead and jump into yet another match, and I begin with my Electabuzz. He begins with his Raikou. Now, we start off the battle pretty well. We both decide to stay in, but then we have a bunch of lags. You know, the game just keeps on lagging, so yeah, we can't do anything, so we're gonna go ahead and restart the match. Now, if this happens in the tournament, basically the rules for us, now I don't know if this is the rule in general, but for us, we would start with the same Pokemon lead. You could change the back Pokemon if you decide to, but you do have to lead with the same exact Pokemon. So we decided to lead again with Electabuzz and Raikou, both of us deciding to stay in, get off that Thunder Punch. Not doing a lot of damage, but because Thunder Punch charges quick, it's actually not that bad. He gets off a Thunderbolt, I get off yet another Thunder Punch, and doing a decent amount of damage. You know, we're in the lead a little bit. He actually gets off his Thunder Punch, so I am going to go ahead and block this because I knew Thunderbolt, excuse me, he got off his Thunderbolt, and I get off my Thunder Punch. I knew I would be able to get it off, so he decides to forfeit a shield in that situation. He gets off his Thunderbolt, unfortunately. I'm not going to give up my last shield, so yeah, Electabuzz does go ahead and get knocked out. We switch into Charizard, knocking out that Pokemon Raikou immediately, and he switches into his own Charizard. And now I was thinking about switching, seeing who I had, but I decided no, it's definitely not worth it. He goes ahead, activates Blast Burn. I do give up my last shield. I get off a Blast Burn. He gives up his last shield, so now we're both down shields. Neither of us have shields left, so Charizard versus Charizard, we're basically evenly matched, but I do get off a Blast Burn before him, and we do go ahead and knock out that Charizard. So, you know, you can see Charizard is definitely a good Pokemon for the Tempest Cup, but it's not a bulky one at all. So it's good. I'm not saying it's not good, but it's not bulky. So we do go ahead and knock out that Cloyster, and we take the win with that Charizard. So I'll definitely take that. I'll definitely take that. Cloyster's another Pokemon I do want to go ahead and give it a try out, but you know, I do have one. I just didn't invest in it yet, but I do want to use Cloyster. I do need to power it up a little bit. But anyway, I begin with my Electabuzz. He begins with Cam Up. I knew that I had to pill out immediately. I switch into my Lapras, doing a good amount of damage actually. Now, Lapras is a Pokemon that I've had requested basically since Tempest Cup was announced, and unfortunately I don't have Ice Shot on my Lapras. It's Frost Breath, which is not terrible. You know, it actually performed quite well, you know, in my opinion, so I wasn't like dissatisfied with it, but I would prefer Ice Shot. Unfortunately, I just don't have one, so I'm gonna hopefully be able to trade for one that's in the Great League range, and we'll see if I can, but unfortunately, yeah, I just don't have one. That Earthquake did a lot more than I thought. I would have blocked it had I knew it would have done that much, but I had no idea. I didn't think it would. He knocks out Charizard, switching to my Electabuzz. He actually gets off his Earthquake, so I'm going to have to go ahead and block, obviously, because that would have knocked me out. We do go ahead and knock out his Cam Up, but of course, we can't do anything to this Piloswine because it resists my Thunder moves. So my electric moves, I can't do anything with Thunder Punch, you know, Thunder Shock, whatever it happens to be, can't do anything to it. So his Piloswine is just going to be able to eat me alive, right? And yeah, he's going to obviously be able to take this game. We actually did quite well. We did get it down quite a bit, but not enough to be able to beat it. So he goes ahead, knocks out my Electabuzz. Electabuzz I was okay with. I was kind of satisfied with his performance, but probably not a Pokemon that I'm going to end up using, but I didn't think it was terrible. So we're beginning with Lapras. He begins with his shiny Charizard, deciding to stay in because Charizard is a flying type. It is neutral to the ice move, so I wasn't dissatisfied with it. We do go ahead and get off that Surf. I knew he was going to use a shield because that would have easily knocked out Charizard at probably any range. Maybe not if it was like full health. It would have come close either way, but we do go ahead, give up the last shield, and I use this Surf because I thought that he would be able to get off his last move before I got off my Surf, or before I knocked him out, I should say. And obviously that was true because he decides to go ahead and block that Surf and gets off Dragon Claw or whatnot. So anyway, I use my Surf on Piloswine, and that's going to almost knock it out, but he does go ahead and knock out my my Lapras, and I switch into Marshtomp, knock out that Piloswine. He switches into Altaria, and I go ahead, get off my Surf. Not going to do a lot of damage because Altaria resists Surf, and I'm going to bring in my final Pokemon, Altaria, and I thought I was in the clear in this situation, but he actually gets off Dazzling Gleam before me, and he's able to knock me out. So yeah, really good game, really close game. I actually thought I had that one, but either way, he does go ahead and take the win. But nice game. Thanks for the matches. Anyway, moving on to a different opponent. He begins with Sealeo, another Pokemon that I definitely want to try out. I begin with Lapras. I decide to stick around with my Lapras because I don't like switching first. You guys know that. We eat that Body Slam, and we go ahead and get off a Surf. And again, he eats that Surf, So we're basically doing the same amount of damage to each other. He's a little bit ahead because he gets off his Body Slams before I get off my Surf. So, he's at a little bit of an advantage, in my opinion. We go ahead, get off that Surf. He goes ahead, pulls the switch to Abomasnow. I'm not sure if I agree with that switch. He probably should have just stayed in with Sealeo because he was at the advantage. And now I can bring in my Charizard, and he can't switch because he already switched. So we knock out Abomasnow easily. And Charizard gets off that Blast Burn, but he's going to go ahead and block it because Steelix is weak to fire moves. So we do go ahead, get off yet another Blast Burn, and he's going to go ahead and use his final shield. So we did go ahead and take both shields from him. He uses Crunch, and yeah, he actually unfortunately gets off another move before I can get off Blast Burn, so I go ahead and block that Crunch, and I'm going to go ahead, get off my Blast Burn, and that is going to be able to knock out Steelix. And he brings in his Sealeo and actually knocks out my Charizard because I was really weak, but Altaria is not going to be able to lose to Sealeo. Even though I am weak to Ice, he's very low, so it doesn't make a difference at this point. He actually gets off yet another Body Slam, but we do go ahead and take out Sealeo. Body Slam charging quite nicely. Charges fast, so yeah, we do go ahead and take the win for that one. We're going to go ahead and move on to yet another game, beginning with Electabuzz. Using Electabuzz again, he begins with Abomasnow. I decided to pull the switch immediately into Charizard because electric moves can't do much to Abomasnow. He pulls the switch into Sealeo. Not sure why he switched into Sealeo. If he had Water Gun, I would understand, but he doesn't have Water Gun on Sealeo. A Water Gun is the move I want to use as a fast move. At least I want to try it out. But anyway, yeah, he gets off the Body Slam, doing not much to Charizard, but I guess a decent amount. I'm almost knocked out. We do go ahead and take him out with Blast Burn. He brings in his Steelix, knocks out my Charizard because I was very low, and I bring in my Altaria, getting off that Dragon Breath. Go ahead, I decide to block that Crunch because I knew I would be able to get off my charge move, which happens to be Sky Attack. He actually pulls the switch before I get that off, and that would have been super effective and knocked out Abomasnow, but he does go ahead and block, which I was really happy about. We get another Sky Attack off, and that's definitely going to be able to knock out Abomasnow, and now he has Steelix, and Dragon Breath is just doing a lot of damage to Steelix because of how good of a move it is. We get off that Sky Attack, and that's not going to quite knock out Steelix, but we do go ahead and pick up the win after that. So yeah, that's yet another great game, another awesome game. Showing the power of Altaria. You guys know how much I love Altaria. I'm probably going to be using Altaria in this competition, even though it is super weak to Ice. I still really like it. Anyway, I begin with Piloswine. He begins with Sealeo. I do go ahead and pull the switch into Abomasnow. He gets off Body Slam. I knew it was Body Slam, so I'm not going to go ahead and block that. that. Razor Leaf just doing a lot of damage to that water type. He switches into Torterra. I'm still doing a lot of damage actually to Torterra, I guess because it's part ground, but we go ahead, get off Outrage. That would have knocked it out, but he does go ahead and block it. Both of us actually go out at the same time. Now I wait a little bit just to see who he switches in first. I don't know if that's kind of like a tacky move or whatnot. Not really, you know, in the spirit of Pokemon, should you? But anyway, that's what I did. And yeah, Piloswine uses Avalanche, and he's going to go ahead, get off his Body Slam. I do go ahead and block that. I probably shouldn't have blocked that. I'm not really sure why I blocked it. That was probably a mistake on my end. I do go ahead and knock out his Sealeo, so now he has his last Pokemon, which happens to be Steelix, and we do go ahead and get off an Avalanche. Knew this wasn't going to do a whole lot to Steelix. Actually did a decent amount, but it wasn't like anything super crazy. I decide not to block that Crunch. He's going to knock out Piloswine. I switch into Altaria, and Altaria is just going to dominate Steelix, similar to the last match. I do go ahead and block that Crunch, and we go ahead and get off a Sky Attack, and that's going to knock him out. And that's going to be it for this game. I will see you in the next video, guys. Bye. Thank you so much for watching my latest video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter. If you like this video, click on one of the links to check out another one of my videos that you'll probably enjoy.